Hey guys, welcome back to the episode number 2. In the last episode, we have developed a theme from scratch to show you how you can do it on your own. From here on, we'll be making our static HTML template into dynamic so that we can use it as a WP theme. So no further ado, let's begin. Alright, so if you guys can remember, this is the theme that we have created in the episode 1, which doesn't have any style included. Only the basic functionalities of a WordPress theme should have. We have done that. But from this episode, we are going to style this theme as like this hero beach template. And this is the blog template for this hero beach. We will be focusing to make this workable for the blog first, because as we know that WordPress is actually a blog platform, so we'll be doing this blog template first and then we'll move into the other pages like the home page. So these things obviously we can use the Gutenberg, or we can use any popular page builder like Elementor. So we'll do that into the later part or in more advanced episodes, but let's begin with completing this blog first. So this hero beach template will be available to you, and I will upload it into my GitHub account so that you can have the same. And for this episode, what we will do, we will we will add all the scripts that it has, like CSS and the JS scripts, and also we will do the header and the footer part as it is. We will not make it function of dynamic, the menu and the other things, but we will try to make it look alike. So let's begin. I have already opened it into another editor. So this is the hero beach template, and this is the vendor folder that it includes all the scripts and the other things. So obviously we will need that. So let's copy this from here and let's open this, and it is into the assets. So let's add it as it was. So let's add this into the assets folder, and it is inside the assets folder now it has this vendor folder, which obviously will have some other scripts like AOS scripts. So we will include it into our theme with the WordPress way. Now the next thing, let's open our some of the files. So let's begin with the header.php. so you can see this header.php is just the bare bone of the theme, but if we want to take it up something from the HTML template, so these are the, if you look at that, this is the template. So these titles is already in here. You can see this meta is already controlling with the WordPress, so we will not deal with any meta thing from here. Even the fav icon will be dealt with WordPress. We will look afterwards with these Google fonts, but let's focus on these things. So these are the styles that has been added through this hero beach template, but we will not gonna use it directly into the header. We will add this into the functions.php. so that keep in mind. If we go further down, we will see this basically the header part. So if I can expand it, so you can see this is the header part started for the hero beach theme, and this is the brand logo, this is the navigation, and this is the get started link. If we go, so this is the get started link. So in order to have these things into our theme, what we can do, we can just let's just copy it and paste it into our header. So it's afterwards body, so we can just paste it here, and let's do some formatting like so. Add another tab. So this is the header part. Now let's also open the footer from the template, or let's just scroll down. So this is the footer, and if I scroll up a bit, I believe there is a comment. So yeah, so this is the footer, and there is also preloader added. at the bottom we have this script. So obviously again we are not gonna add statically into the theme in like into the footer.php. We will also deal these things from the functions.php, but to have these DOMs, let's copy all the footers where it is. All right, so this is the footer, so let's copy it and open our themes footer.php, and just before the wp footer hook, let's paste it down. So what this wp footer will do, this will add all the scripts coming from the functions.php as well as some default things from the WordPress. So let's do some formatting here again and remove the space. All right, so this is the footer and the header we have added. Now if we go back and look at our theme, if I hit a refresh, obviously we will see some broken HTMLs. See, so this is the top header with the broken menu and the block, and if I go at the bottom, you will see the footer with a broken DOM. So nothing, I mean no worries there, we will make these things pretty soon. So now the next thing will actually be dealt with these scripts and the styles. So let's begin with the header CSS styles, so that at the first point we will see the styles. Okay, so now let's go back into the theme and let's open our functions.php. So this is the HeroBiz public scripts which is added into this WP script. So I actually explained in the first episode what this does. This actually load the scripts in the front of the theme, not into the admin area. So here we will add these scripts. Let's open the template. So these basically are the templates. Let's copy it and paste it here and comment it out, so we will do not need to go back and forth. So these are the scripts that's gonna need to include from the functions.php through this WP style. So what these functions actually do, this will load the scripts, and it does need to have some parameters. The first one is the IDs, and the second parameter is the URL in from where we're gonna load from the theme. The third parameter is an array, which is actually the dependency array. If some scripts are dependent into it, then we need to pass the ID in here. WP rand, we actually generating the random version so that it will not be cached, and last one is the media string. Now let's duplicate this very line, and the first one is the bootstrap.min.css, and its location is actually the same. So it's under the assets vendor bootstrap css bootstrap.min.css. so obviously you can just copy this and replace this one, and let's change the ID as well, bootstrap. Now we have to add more 4 more, so let's just quickly do that. So there's 4 more lines has been added. So the next one is bootstrap icon, so just copy it and place not this second one, so bootstrap icon, and let's change the ID from bootstrap to bootstrap icons. And the next one is AOS, so it's actually all right. So I think we have made some mistakes or not. Let me check. So the second one is vendor bootstrap icons, then bootstrap there's no CSS, so CSS folder like the first one. So if I go vendor bootstrap icons, all right, so yeah, it's fine. The next one is vendor AOS and AOS.css, so let's check vendor AOS and AOS.css. So we can just copy this and replace it in here, and also let's change the ID from bootstrap to AOS. All right, so this is also done. The next one is lightbox, so let's vendor glightbox CSS and then the script name. So just copy it and also change the ID from bootstrap to glightbox. And the last one is the sweeper, so vendor then sweeper, So sweeper bundle, okay, there's another slash extra slash removed, so sweeper bundle, so we can just call it sweeper here. All right, now I believe there's some more scripts, so this too is also needed. So let's copy and go back. So we already added this, so let's remove these things and just also commented out these things for now. Now as you can see, this is the assets css, and then variable.css, and then main.css. so I believe if we go in here, we will have this css, main, and variable.css. so we need to copy these two and go back into our themes editor and open this css folder. We have this default and main css, so let's actually delete both of them, we do not need those, and paste the copied two files. So one is main and another is variables.css. so if we see this main and variable.css was added at the very end, so what we can do, we actually can cut these things and follow the same. So here the first one actually was the variable, so its assets, yeah, assets is okay. So let's copy this variable.css, so this variable.css, and let's just change the id of it, and also the main css is actually the same, so we can keep these things. All right, so with this we actually can say this, that all the scripts has been added. So these are the vendor scripts, and these are the main scripts that has been coming from the assets and css. Now quickly let's go into our front end and check. So let's hit a refresh or reload, and obviously this loader has been added. Now because of that, let's go into the footer and commenting out this preloader DOM, so we can skip the preloader now. Now if we hit a refresh, and we should see the styles has been added. You can see at the top there is menu has been added, so the drop down is also working, and I think the icons is missing, but you can see the header is already there. There's some issue with the WordPress admin bar, will fix that later. Now let's check into the footer, and you can see obviously the footer is also showing, so we can say that our styles has been added successfully. Now you can see this icons is missing, so let's check it out into the backend on functions.php. so this is the bootstrap icons. Okay, I think we have made a mistake here. So bootstrap icons doesn't have the css folder. Let's remove this from the url, and let's check it again. Hit a refresh. Okay, nothing is there. Let me check. Okay, so let's deal these icons later. Maybe we can check the page source. So this is the bootstrap icons.css. so it's been loaded successfully or not, let's check. Okay, so it's not found. Let's check the other one. I think it's much bigger, that's why it's not loading correctly. Let's check the third one. Okay, so the URL is correct. So this is hero bees. Okay, so let's open this one. Right, so scripts are loading as expected, but for this bootstrap icon it's not loading. It says, so the URL is assets vendor bootstrap. So that's the problem. Actually we have copied the wrong thing, so it should be vendor bootstrap icons. My bad actually. So now let's hit a refresh and check whether the icons is coming or not. So as you can see, the icons is there. So let's check at the top. So drop down, yeah, so drop down icon is also showing. So deep, okay, so this is not the icons placeholder, but this is the icon. All right, so we can say our icons has been loading successfully. Now the next thing should be to add, the next thing should be to add the scripts into the functions.php. all right, so let's begin with that. Now if I go into our theme, let's scroll down at the bottom. So these are the scripts we actually need to include from the functions.php. so let's just copy these and for now, as before, paste it at the bottom and just comment it down, so we do not need to go back and forth again. Now to add the styles, we need to use this wp-enqueue style, but to add the scripts we need to use wp-enqueue scripts, and the id is almost the same. Sorry, the parameter is almost the same. First one is the id, then the url, then the dependencies, then the version, and then whether you want to add it into the footer or the header. If it is true, then it's gonna add into the footer. If it's not, then it's gonna add into the header. So first one is from the assets vendor bootstrap bundle.min.js. so just copy this and replace it here. We are copying it and replacing it as same because our folder structure is same, so that's why. So you can say we can also need to change the id, and it has a dependency of jQuery, so nothing, no need to worry about that. The next one, let's duplicate the line several times. Next one is the aos script, so let's copy from the vendor, or let's just copy this whole thing. We're not gonna mess it up around again. So this one, and copy the id of it. The next one is the lightbox, so let's copy this, place it here, and this is the g lightbox. Just change the id. And the next one is isotope, so let's copy this and replace. This is the isotope. And the next one is sweeper. Obviously for the blog we are not gonna need those things, but as a whole we're gonna need those things later, so we are adding this into the first hand. So in later part we do not need to come here again. So the next one is this one, and this is the validate.js. all right, and the last one, I believe, this assets.js main.js. so there's a main.js, and let's go into the html template and open this, and this is the main.js. there has some scripts, so let's copy this file and now go back into our theme. There's a main.js which is totally blank, so we actually can delete it and add our copied scripts that has been coming from the template. Now its location is assets.js main.js. so assets.js main.js. all right, so it's already been there. Now we can remove these things. all right, so now let's hit a refresh to see all the scripts are loaded or not. So you can see this is the go top button. If I click, so it's working, as you can see. Now before that, let's verify it into the view source. So if I hit a refresh and obviously go into the bottom, and if we check it out, you can or just go into the theme and copy any like g lightbox, and if I hit a search, so you will see this g lightbox is coming from HeroViz theme assets vendor. So you can go and check all the files are available here or not. So you can see all the files has been added into the footer.php or at the bottom of the scripts. Now to complete it, let's go into the footer.php. If you can remember, we have commented out this preloader. For now we can actually activate it because the scripts has been loaded. So now if I go and hit a refresh, and you can see the preloader is coming and going, that means the scripts is working as expected.